Good morning. Let's start the daily discussion on current affairs. Be 10th May. Okay. History of India Nepal border dispute. So Nepal decided to include a map on its 100 rupees note depicting certain areas administered by India, Uttarakhand as part of its territory. This led to the dispute. Okay. Nepal's map on currency note sparked controversy amid tension with India. After the parliamentary action, the map was adopted by consensus in Nepalese parliament 4 years ago. In contrast to 2020, when the new map was embraced, the recent decision to feature it on the currency note has been met with skepticism and criticism in Nepal. What is India's response to this? Nepal decided to add a map of Nepal in its currency note, and that map includes part of the territory ruled by India or under Indian control. But it has been accepted and printed in the currency note of Nepal. So India accepted that such unilateral measure by Nepal would not alter the ground reality. India stated that discussions regarding boundary matter are in progress through an established plan. When the matter is under discussion, adding that in the currency note will not give it any legitimate claim. However, it seems that Kathmandu is dissatisfied with the pace and urgency of this process. Okay. However, it seems that Kathmandu is dissatisfied with the pace and urgency of this process. Okay, because the border dispute, which is under discussion between the two sides, is continuing for a long period, and Nepal is not happy at the progress of the solution to the border dispute. So, to put pressure on India, it has added that map in its currency note. Okay. India-Nepal border dispute. The India-Nepal border dispute is about 372 square kilometer area. That it includes the Lampiadura, Lipulek, Kalapani at the India-Nepal-China transaction in Uttarakhand's Pithoragarh district. Nepal has claimed for long that this area belong to both historically and evidently to Nepal, but they are under Indian control right now. They are in the transaction of India, Nepal and China. Genesis of the India-Nepal border dispute, Treaty of the Sugali. The treaty at the end of the Anglo-Nepalese War in 1813 to 1816 resulted in Nepal ceding a portion of its territory to the East India Company. Article 5 of the treaty revoked Nepal's ruler's jurisdiction over the land situated on the east of Kali River. Map issued by the British Surveyor General of India in 1819, 1821, 1827, 1856 show that Kali River is originating in the Limpiadura. Publishing of new map, the next map published in 1879 used the name of the river in the local languages Kuti-Janti, not the Kali River. The map that was published in 1920-21 retained the name Kuti-Yanti, but it identified a different Kali, which was shown as a stream originating from a temple site and joining the main stream about a kilometer downstream. However, the last map issued by the British before they left India in 1947 showed the initial portion of the Kali River originating in the Lampiadura. Transition followed India-China War 1962. Okay. So, however, the last map issued by the British before they left India is in 1947, showed the initial position of the Kali River originating in the Limpiadura. A transition followed India-China War until 1962. Villages in this area, the Gunji, Nabi, Kutti, and Kalapani, also recognized as Tulsi, Nwarang, and Nabidang, were included in the Nepal government census, and residents paid land revenue to the Kathmandu government. Following the war between India and China, India approached King of Nepal asking for permission to use Kalapani, which was strategically located close to the transaction, as a base for the Indian army. India-Nepal Dispute Resolution talk. Prime Minister I.K. Gujral in April 1997 to March 1998 promised to give up this area if Nepal was able to produce evidence for its claim. So when the I.K. Gujral, the Prime Minister, he promised to make that return back the area, provided Nepal is able to produce evidence to prove its claim over these areas. In July 2000, Prime Minister Atal Vajpayee assured Nepal that India has no interest in Nepal territory. However, mechanism led by the two nations did not make progress. During the visit of Prime Minister of India to Nepal in 2013, both nations agreed to set up a boundary working group for speedy settlement of the border issue in the Kalapani and the Susta area. Susta is a 145 square kilometer area that has fallen okay. Fallen on the Indian side after the river Gandak changed its course. Kalapani, it is a valley that is administered by India as a part of the Pithoragarh district of Uttarakhand, situated on the Kailash Mansarovar road. The Limpiadura, it forms the international boundary between Nepal and China and is considered the origin of the Kali river, which demarcates the border between the two countries. The Lipulek Pass is a high altitude mountain pass situated in the western Himalaya at a height of 5334 meters or 17,500 feet. It is an international mountain pass between India, China, and Nepal. Friction in Indo-Nepal relation, deterioration of Indo-Nepal relation post 2015, the goodwill of the 2014 period when India mediated the transition of Nepal into secular federal republic deteriorated in 2015 because Nepal was a very close friend country of India in the initial period, and we have close historical, cultural, economic, and political link. The Indian National Congress and Nepali Congress are very close to each other, and even in our Jagannath culture, Nepal has a very significant role. Okay, the Kasturi used in Jagannath temples idols. Idol blood Jagannath that comes from Nepal, Kasturi Mukha. Okay, from that the Kasturi comes from that most deer which are in Nepal. Then when the Maoist government came to power under the Pachanda, the Maoists rejected the Indian suggestion that Nepal's new constitution should be delayed until the concern of the Tarai parties are addressed. Tarai region is an adjacent region between India and Nepal. The Tarai region is inhabited by the Madhesis. Madhesis are pro-Indian people, and Indian government always promoted the Madhesi interest more. But the Maoists, so they when came to power, they tried to suppress the Madhesi interest, which was promoted by the Indian government. Erosion of trust and strategy pivot in 134-day blockade of Nepal commencing September 2005 created significant distrust against India because they feel that this was Indian promoted blockade, because Nepal is a landlocked country. When this caravan or that transport vehicles were blocked in the Tarai region, so the Nepali feel hardship, and they have the apprehension that this blockade, economic blockade in the Tarai region by the Madhesi is being supported by the government of India. So the trust between India and Nepal started deteriorating to a considerable extent. Nepal initiated a trade and transit agreement with China to establish an alternative source of supply for essential goods. In 2020, Nepal spearheaded efforts to garner parliamentary consensus for Nepal's new map, which officially incorporated the 372 square kilometer area of Uttarakhand in place to bring it back. India's response: India condemned Nepal's cartographic aggression as unacceptable, but emphasized that the issue must be resolved through diplomatic channels based on evidence. That Nepal should show the evidence so it can be sorted out at the diplomatic level. Difference in map in 2024 from 2020, unlike 2022. Okay, difference in map in 2022, unlike 2022, when the new map was adopted by the parliament, there is no consensus on putting the map on the currency note, but it was put by the government. Call for dialogue, resolving the issue through dialogue has been advocated, avoiding action that could provoke drastic measures from India. Despite the in-principle agreement on resolution through appropriate platforms based on evidence, India and Nepal have not fixed a time frame or called a meeting for the purpose. The Kali River, River Kali is the largest and the most important river in the Kumaon region. The borders countries, it forms the border between India and Nepal, draining both eastern Kumaon and the western Nepal. Tributaries are Sarayu, Gori, Kutti, Dauli East, and Ramganga East. Sarayu is the largest tributary which rises in the northwest area. The Bajnath in central Kumaon to merge with the Kali River at the Pancheshwar. The temple town of the Bajnath and Pancheshwar are important settlement along with the Saradu River. Achieving net zero emission next target. Next topic is a topic on environment and ecology. Achieving a net zero emission in the agri-food system, the World Bank report. A new World Bank report, a recipe for a livable planet, achieving net zero emission in the agri-food system has been released. The highlights from the report: World Bank report on agri-food system, emission reduction potential in the global agri-food system. The global agri-food system offers an opportunity to reduce nearly one-third of the world's greenhouse gas emission. This can be done through accessible and affordable measures while ensuring the continued sustenance of a growing population. The report outlines action that every country can take. These measures enhance food security and help the food system better withstand climate change and protect vulnerable people during this transition. Received for a livable planet report, it is the first comprehensive global strategic framework for mitigating the agri-food system's contribution to climate change. It shows how the system that produces the world's food can cut greenhouse gas emission while continuing to feed the world. Leveraging the agri-food system for climate change solution. The agri-food system is a huge untapped source of low-cost climate change action. Unlike other sectors, it can have an outsized impact on climate change by reducing emission and drawing carbon naturally from the atmosphere. Investment imperative for agri-emission reduction. The benefit of investing in reducing agri-food emission outweigh the cost. Annual investment must rise to $260 billion by 2030 to have agri-food emissions and achieve net zero emission by 2050. Currently, twice the amount is spent annually on agricultural subsidies, which have negative environmental impacts. Investing in these initiatives could result in benefit of over 4 trillion with enhancement in human health, food and nutrition security, increased job quality and profit for farmers, and heightened carbon retention in the forest and soils. Agri-food system, it includes the following subsector: crop, livestock, forestry, aquaculture and fisheries. It encompasses activities of farming, harvesting, fishing, livestock rearing, storing, processing, transporting, selling, buying, eating and disposing of our food. Challenges posed by the agri-food system: greenhouse gas emission. Agri-food generates almost a third of the greenhouse gas emission, averaging around 16 gigaton annually. This is about 1/6 more than half of the world's heat and electricity emission. Pollution from developing country: 3/4 of the agri-food emission come from developing country, including 2/3 from middle income countries. Financing the gap: there is insufficient investment in cutting agri-food emission and agri-food lag other sector in financing for climate action. Finance for reducing or removing emission in the agri-food system remain low to 2.4% of the total mitigation finance. That means agri-food production is one of the major greenhouse gas emitter globally. High income country can lead the way. This can be done by giving more support to low and middle income countries so they can adopt low emission farming methods and technologies. This includes technical assistance for forest conservation program that generate high integrity carbon credit. They can also shift subsidies from high emitting food sources. This could reveal their full price and help make low emission food option cheaper. Role of middle income countries: they can curb up to 3/4 of the global agri-food emission through greener practices. This includes reducing emission from livestock and rice, investing in healthy soils and cutting food loss and waste, and using land more efficiently. 1/3 of the world's opportunity to reduce agri-food emission relate to sustainable land use in middle income countries. Role of low income countries: they can start by avoiding the mistake made by the richer country and seizing climate smart opportunity for greener and more competitive economies. Preserving and restoring forest would promote sustainable economic development in low income countries. Even more than half of their agri-food emission come from clearing forest to produce food. Comprehensive approach to achieving net zero emission. Emission need to be reduced in food system, including okay. Preserving and restoring the forest would promote sustainable economic development in low-income countries, given more than half of their agri-food emission come from clearing forest to produce food. Comprehensive approach to achieving net zero emissions. Emission need to be reduced in food system, including in fertilizers and energy, crop and livestock production, and packaging and distribution across the value chain from farm to the table, means dining table. The next topic is about the Glyphothorax Unibrite, India's leading institute for fish genetic resources. ICAR NBFGR has recently identified a new species of catfish, the Glyphothorax unibrite, in the tongue system of the Brahmaputra river drainage system. This is a new catfish species. It can be named in honor of Dr. Punnabrata Das, the founding director of the ICR NBFGR. The species was collected from the Tong stream, a tributary of the Tista river in Andhra Pradesh. They are known for adapting their bodies that enable them to cling onto rock in the fast flowing water. It stands out because of its unique body shape, size, and top armor like the skin, making it easy to recognize. Habitat and distribution: it lives in the certain freshwater area in India. Ecological significance of the this particular species: it plays an important role in maintaining ecological balance and functioning. Its presence contribute to the regulation of prey population and nutrient cycling. Significance of this discovery: it highlights the importance of the continued exploration and conservation of efforts in safeguarding our natural heritage. This newfound species add to the rich biodiversity of the northeastern region. This note ICR India, the ICR National Bureau of Fish Genetic Resources located in Lucknow, established in 1983. So it is Fish Genetic Resources. Okay, National Bureau of Fish Genetic Resources, NBFGR, National Bureau of Fish Genetic Resources, Lucknow in Uttar Pradesh. Then Areca nut. The areca nut grown in the Tirthali region has found to be highest quality among all the variety grown in Karnataka. Usually referred to as the areca palm, yellow palm, butterfly palm. As the areca nut palm is source of common chewing nuts, popularly known as the betel nut or supari. India is the largest producer as well as consumer of the areca nut. Major producing state: Karnataka, Kerala, Assam, Tamil Nadu, Meghalaya, and West Bengal. Grading: the areca nut kernel are boiled and then areca precipitates are added after removing the husk. Afterward, the nut are dried and sorted into different grades like Nuli, Asa, Rasi, Beti, and the Gorabulu based on their market oath. Favorable agroclimatic conditions for growing areca nut. Climate: it is mostly confined to 80° north and south of the equator. It grows well within the temperature range of 40°C to 36°C. It is adversely affected by temperature below 10° and above 40°C. Soil: the largest area under the crop is found gravelly laterite soil, a red clay type. It can also be grown on fertile clay loam soil. Sticky clay, sandy, alluvial, brackish, and calcareous soils are not suitable for the areca nut cultivation. Ideal rainfall: 750 meters to 400 meters irrigation. Season June to December is found to be the optimum season. Then NCPI issue guideline for merchant acquisition of Bhim Aadhaar Pay. Recently, the National Payment Corporation of India (NCPI) you know So recently, the National Payment Corporation of India in a circular has issued guidelines for put the onus of verifying merchant detail on acquiring banks for Bhim Aadhaar Pay. Bhim Aadhaar Pay enable merchant to receive digital payment for customers over the counter through Aadhaar and authentication. It allows for any merchant associated with any acquiring bank live on Bhim Aadhaar Pay to accept payment from customers of any bank by authenticating customers' biometrics. Prerequisite to be able to effect the same, merchant could have an Android mobile or any supported device with BHIM Aadhaar Pay app and certified biometric scanner attached with the mobile phone, QR code, tablet or USB port or micro ATM, POS or MPOS. Both customer and merchant should have their Aadhaar linked to their bank account. National Payment Corporation of India, it is an umbrella organization for operating retail payment and settlement system in India. It is an initiative of the Reserve Bank of India and Indian Bank Association under the provisions of the Payment and Settlement System Act 2007. For creating a robust payment and settlement infrastructure in India, it was created. It has been incorporated as a not-for-profit company under the provisions of the Section 25 of the Company Act 1956, now Section 8 of the Company Act 2013. Objective with an intention to provide infrastructure to the entire banking system in India for physical as well as electronic payment and settlement system. Focus to bring innovations in the retail payment system through the use of technology for achieving greater efficiency in operation and widening the reach of the payment system. Reference guideline for merchant acquisition standards. Okay, so it has been incorporated as a not-for-profit organization company under the provision of Section 20 of the Company Act 1956, now Section 8 of the Company Act 2013. Objective with an intention to provide infrastructure to the entire banking system in India for physical as well as electronic payment and settlement system. Focus to bring innovation in the retail payment system, the use of technology for achieving greater efficiency in operation and widening the reach of the payment system. Reference guideline for merchant acquisition standard, the BHIM Aadhaar Pay. The National Payment Corporation of India issued these guidelines to acquiring member banks. Key responsibility and accountability when managing the merchants. An acquiring member bank must monitor its merchant activity via onboarding criteria, transaction monitoring and control, training, assessment of the portfolio metric, etc. periodically. These monitoring standards for merchant is a baseline for the level of oversight on merchant performance. Acquiring member bank can be both manual as well as digital modes of merchant due diligence. Acquiring merchant bank should ensure the following points are in place and the same is adequately addressed. Broad approved policy for merchant acquisition. Implement policies that include standards to ensure quality business conduct to mitigate risk to the NCPI operated payment system in terms of financial reputational risk. There should not be any risk to the reputation of the institution. The policy must be approved by the acquiring merchant bank's board of directors and should have a periodic review mechanism, so no discrepancy is there which will affect the credibility, especially financial credibility and the reputation of the financial institution. Agreement with the various stakeholders. Merchant agreement in place with each merchant aggregator as appropriate before any service is provided. Merchant understanding, underwriting. It has advised member to assign appropriate merchant category code when taking on broad merchants. Merchant portfolio and risk monitoring. Okay, so they are required to ensure that cash withdrawal transactions are not allowed on the BAP services, merchant by category, I think merchant criteria and prohibited merchants, merchant trading, and third party agent risk oversight and governance. Issue with wildlife defaulter designations. The article discussed the Bombay High Court's decision to strike down a rule allowing public bank to issue lookout circular against willful defaulters. It suggests that the concept of willful defaulter needs reconsideration due to outdated processes and potential misuse by the banks. Wildlife defaulters. Wildlife defaulters are borrowers who intentionally avoid repaying loans despite having a financial capacity to do so. They are willful defaulting willfully. They have the resources but intentionally they are not paying it. Being labeled as a willful defaulter prevents them from accessing more loans and restrict them from participating in the credit and equity market. The RBI and the Security Board of Exchange India enforce these penalties. Different court ruling regarding the willful defaulters taken that Takeno versus SEBI, the Supreme Court ruling on inspection rights in security law influence data case. It ensured that regulatory authority follow fairness principles and allow access to relevant investigation materials. Then the Joe developers case, the Supreme Court decision emphasized the need for proper procedural safeguards. It ensured that willful defaulters receive fair treatment before being classified. The Biraj Cheta Saha versus Union of India, the Bombay High Court invalidated the rule allowing public bank to request lookout circular against willful defaulters. It held that this practice violated the fundamental rights to equality under Article 14 and like Article 21. The Milind Patel versus of India case, this case clarified that commercial lenders must follow natural justice principles. Borrowers should have access to all investigating materials before being designated as willful defaulters. The other guidelines issued. Why are willful defaulters designations controversial? So, lender bias, bank classify borrower as willful defaulters despite being parties to credit contracts, leading to potential bias. This violates the principle of nemo judax in case Sua, meaning no one should judge their own case. Bank might deflect blame for their poor credit appraisal onto borrowers. Institutional misalignment. Initially, the designation was for information sharing, but has evolved into blacklisted system, preventing access to loans and markets. This shift occurred without adopting the safeguards required for fair treatment. Alternative exist. The Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2016 provides a more structured process for handling defaults. With this code in place, the article questions the particularity of the willful defaulter framework. Okay. Then India becomes third largest producer of the solar power. According to a report by the International Energy Analytic Agency (EMBER), India has overtaken Japan to become the world's third largest producer of solar power in 2023. India generated 113 billion units of solar power in 2023 compared to Japan's 10 billion units. Status of installed power and solar power in India. Okay. So India ranking in terms of installed power capacity. The installed power capacity includes both renewable and non-renewable energy. In terms of installed capacity, India is the fifth position in the world. Gap in solar power production due to demand supply mismatch. According to Niti Aayog, while solar power constitutes 18% of the India's total installed electricity of 442 gigawatt, it contributes to only 6.66% of the power production. This reflects a gap between the potential and actual solar power produced. This gap in solar power production is dependent on country's power demand and local circumstances, rainfall, cloudy situation, etc. etc. Leaders in solar power production. China tops in the solar power production. China is the leading producer of solar power in the world with 584 billion unit of solar power in 2024. It is more than next four countries combined, that is United States, India, Japan and Japan. Okay, combinedly, but the four countries produce, China produces more than that. US is at the second spot. India needs to more than double its current solar production to overtake USA, which is at the second spot with 228 billion unit of solar production. Status of renewable energy in the world. Expansion of renewable energy share in the global electricity production has expanded from 19% in 2000 to 30% in 2023. This is driven mainly by an increase in solar and wind power. China is the main driver of this increase. China alone accounts for 51% of the additional global solar generation and 60% of the new global wind generation in 2023. Generation electricity from low carbon sources. What generates 30% of its electricity from low carbon sources, which includes renewable sources and nuclear power. Then coming to the question, discuss the role of impartiality and non-partisanship in promoting fair policy implementation. Identify mechanisms and institutions for ensuring and safeguarding these principles. Impartiality in public service demonstrate unbiased decision making based on fairness and objectivity, free from favoritism or prejudice, whereas non-participant means abstaining from political biases or affiliations, ensuring decisions and actions are guided solely by ethical consideration and the public interest, not political agenda or pressures. Role of impartiality and non-partisanship in promoting fair policy implementation. Impartiality promoting inclusivity. Impartiality in policy implementation ensure that marginalized and minority group are not discriminated against. Implementation of scheme like the Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribes Act showcase this commitment. Facilitating fair resources allocation. Impartiality ensures that resources are allocated fairly and efficiently without favoritism. Implementation of the public distribution system in India aims to ensure fair distribution of resources to the needy. Okay. Okay. So objective decision making. Impartiality leads to decision based on facts and evidence rather than personal or political consideration. Implementation of the Right to Information Act by civil services demonstrates objective decision making. Ensuring policy continuity. Impartiality helps in ensuring continuity in public policy formulation, implementation, regardless of changes in the political landscape. The continuity of program like the National Health Mission across different government is a example of this. Non-partisanship, building public trust. Non-partisanship helps in building trust among the public. The decisions are made in the public interest and are not influenced by political biases. Role of the Indian judiciary, often seen as a non-partisan institution, enhances public trust in its verdicts. Preventing corruption. Non-partisanship helps in preventing corruption by ensuring that decisions are not influenced by political affiliations or pressure. Lokpad and Lokaयुक्त play a key role in maintaining non-partisanship to prevent corruption in government departments. Enhancing credibility. Non-partisan action enhance the credibility of public institutions. The RBI's non-partisan stance in monetary policy decision is crucial for maintaining its credibility. Maintaining professional ethics. Non-partisanship is integral to professional ethics in public service. Civil servants like the Ashok Khemka have demonstrated commitment to those values even in the face of political pressure. Mechanism and institution for ensuring and safeguarding impartiality and non-partisanship. Independent judiciary. The Constitution of India establishes an independent judiciary to interpret and uphold the Constitution. The judiciary is expected to be impartial and free from political influence, ensuring impartial and non-partisan decision making by the executive. Election Commission of India. The ECI is an autonomous constitutional authority responsible for administering election processes. It ensures free and fair election by conducting them impartiality without any influence for political parties. C&AG. CAG is an independent authority responsible for auditing government expenditure. It ensures financial accountability and transparency, contributing to non-partisan functioning of the government. The CBC is another. It is an apex Indian government body created to address governmental corruption, ensuring impartiality in public services. It plays a key role in maintaining integrity and preventing corruption in government departments. Central Information Commission, the CIC, ensures transparency and accountability by overseeing the implementation of the Right to Information Act. It operates independently to safeguard impartiality. Public Service Commission, bodies like the UPSC and the State Public Service Commission ensure impartial recruitment of civil servants based solely on merit and ability. Administrative tribunals, institutions like the SCAT and SAT provide a mechanism for addressing grievances to government employees, ensuring fair treatment and safeguarding against partisan action. Ethics Committee in Legislature, Ethics Committee in Parliament, the Parliamentary Ethics Committee, the Assembly and Parliament, and State Legislatures oversee the conduct of legislators, ensuring adherence to non-partisan and ethical standards. Then recently in the Lok Sabha, that Ethics Committee called the TMC MP Mohammed on this ground. Code of Conduct of Civil Servants. The Government of India has established the Civil Service Central Civil Services Conduct Code 1964. Civil servants outlining expectations for maintaining impartiality and non-partisan in their duties. Whistleblowers protection laws and mechanisms that protect whistleblowers who expose corruption or bias in government, like the Whistleblowers Protection Act 2014, play a crucial role in safeguarding these principles. Training and capacity building, regular training programs for civil servants on ethics, integrity, and importance of impartiality and non-partisancy. Institutions like the Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy of Administration conduct such training for the IAS officers. Impartiality and non-participatorship are not just principles but ethical imperatives. They are not only principles, but they are ethical imperative for effective public administration. Upholding these values through robust mechanism and institutions enhances the integrity and credibility of public services, fostering an environment of trust, efficiency, and fairness, and realizing the broader objective of equality and justice in society. When come to the MCQ, consider the following statement regarding the willful defaulter. Willful defaulter are considered as entities that do not pay back money despite the ability to do so. That's right. The willful defaulter are not permitted to open any new business venture for a period of 1 year from the date of being declared willful defaulters. Even if a company is declared willful defaulter, it can launch an initial public offering to pay back its dues. So only one is correct. It is 1. Consider the following statement: RuPay, Aadhaar Enabled Payment System, National Electronic Fund Transfer, National Automated Clearing System, National Electronic Toll Collection. How many of these initiatives are part of the National Payment Corporation of India? So all the four of them. With reference to the ethnic fever, consider the following: it spreads through contaminated food and water caused by the Salmonella typhi. A single vital test perfectly report the presence of the bacteria causing the fever kind. Bone marrow test can also be conducted to test for the fever. Only 2 are correct. Consider the following statement: in India, the right to vote is governed by the Independent People Act 1951. Under trial prisoners in India are allowed to vote in election right. In India, convicts with sentence of less than 2 years, prisoner cannot contest election. Prisoners held under preventive detention can vote in an election. 2 are correct here. In the following process involves introducing certain particle into cloud to stimulate rain, often used to combat drought and enhance snowfall. It is called the process is popularly known as the process of cloud shading. That was done recently in Dubai that led to the heavy rain. Consider the following statement: China is the leading producer of solar power globally, right? India has surpassed Japan in terms of installed solar power capacity. That is incorrect. Solar power constitutes 80% India's total utility capacity. Here 1 and 3 are correct, but 2 is wrong. Consider the following statement: solar time is calculated by measuring the Earth's rotation related to the sun and its variable nature. Right. Currently, moon missions operate on coordinated lunar time of the Earth. There is no standardized time system for operation in the cis lunar space. Only 2 are correct, 1 and 2. Consider the following statement about the Global Biofuel Alliance. It is an India-led initiative to develop an alliance of government, international organization, and industry to facilitate adoption of biofuel. Right? India, Brazil, and USA are among the founding members of this biofuel alliance. Both 1 and 2 are correct. According to recent event warning, so it will be Sudan. So the following statement: the Supreme Court of India has recognized the right to die with dignity as a fundamental aspect of the right to life under Article 21. Right? The right to peaceful death is not explicitly mentioned in the Indian Constitution. Also right. So both 1 and 2 are correct. Answer will be C.